Ayo the Clown! First off, I want to say sorry about my voice. I've been sick, so this isn't going to sound great. A lot of people have asked me over the years, why do I review a lot of games that you might not have heard of? My answer is always the same. I'm hoping to one day find a gem of a game that a lot of people have never played. Last year I found a game called Rainbow Billy, and it was a lot of fun. This year so far, it's this game. I found this game randomly on Amazon, and I thought I would put it in my Christmas list. I was never going to buy it for $19.99. As it might look fun, I wouldn't want to take the chance it wasn't. And I had actually forgotten I put this on my wish list, and I was very surprised when I unwrapped it. It's a platformer, and a very well made one. Let's start with the fully voiced cutscenes.
Ayo is startled awake. What was that? Letting out a sharp cry, he screams, "Where's my dog?" Ayo cries, bolting out of his tent, his face covered in a mixture of rain, snot, and tears. Surprisingly, his clown makeup is still intact.
They're all throughout this adventure. They're just an extra that wasn't necessary, but it was very appreciated. The game has an interesting setup as you play the levels in order to gain basic movements. For example, in the first level, you have to earn the right to jump. You'll learn the controls little by little, and everything is expertly taught to you as you keep finishing the levels. You will eventually gain the ability to slide, throw objects, fly a little, and many other abilities as well. There are collectibles along the way if you want to explore the hidden parts of the level. Some of it is hidden by invisible walls, so you really need to search the area in order to find all the collectibles, if you care. There are also gems all over the place, which you're actually going to want to collect in order to upgrade your powers to make things easier. The biggest issue with this is that if you really want to upgrade your powers, you're really going to need to hoard gems as much as possible. Because the baseline of 25,000 gems is a lot when you only get a couple thousand per level. And that's if you're lucky. Feels like they should have cut it in half, so we didn't have to go crazy collecting every gem. The levels were always very different. Every level had a new gimmick, whether it be vertical flying, becoming a tank, jumping around on vines in a jungle. They just kept coming up with new ideas. A lot of times when people build platformers, they like to repeat ideas to pad out the level count. And while you will run into the same concept occasionally, it's usually done in a different way. And it's what kept me playing, to see the different ideas this game had to offer. Now occasionally there were boss fights. They were usually just find the weak spot and then the boss will change the attack, and then do it again. I liked the boss fights, but they did seem out of place in a game that really didn't need them. It felt like they were just here because people expected them to be. There are many games and side quests to do, and they were never really anything interesting, but they were more about adding gameplay if you wanted it. Almost everything about it felt high quality, with one exception, and that's the map screen. It was very generic. It's just moving from one spot to another. It felt like something you would see on a mobile game. It felt like the platforming game, and whoever made the map screen never talked, as it was so boring. It didn't fit the tone of the game at all. Ayo the Clown was great. Visually, it looked bright and colorful. Every level had a different design to it, and that was very unexpected. The controls were easy enough to learn. I do think the later moves were a little clunky, but you get used to it. The game is as hard as you want it to be, as they let you pick the difficulty. And I think it only really affects your hearts, but I could be wrong. This is normally $19.99, and I think that's a fair price. While the levels vary in length, there are 30 of them to explore. I think the overall quality makes it worth the full price they're asking, so you should buy it now.